Hey everybody, Shecky here with what I'm going to call a very sad knife preview. I'm going to tell you the story real quickly and then get to the knife. I don't want to bore you too much with the details, but basically I placed an order with yourcornerstore.com. Great guys to work with, excellent prices. I don't use them for any reason other than the fact that they've got the best prices on the stuff that I buy. If you do like a frugal search on Google, you'll find that most of the time with shipping and everything accounted, they're the cheapest out there. So that's why I use them. I basically bought 2 items. And got the box yesterday and opened it up, found those 2 items, perfect shape, loved them. And then just so happens this box was in there also. Now, if there's an extra box in there, I'm thinking, oh, there must be a promotional item. That's great. When a company is able to do that, that always, endears me to them even further. But then I opened the box and realized I was looking at a very, very high quality knife. And so I basically did a little internet research and realized not only a high quality knife, but a very, very expensive knife. And to be honest with you, had I kept it, it would have been my most expensive knife. So after laboring and laboring and laboring over it, I realized that the right thing to do would definitely be to give them a call and see what was up. And basically, they did exactly what you would expect them to do with a high-priced knife and a company that I believe, as I'm told, works on a very thin margin line. They asked me to send it back, offered me some incentives and such, and so I agreed. But before I sent it back, I wanted to do a quick preview of it. I don't know how widely this knife is available yet. I think it's a pretty new knife for the Spyderco line. It is actually called, I don't know if you're going to be able to read this, it's called the Leafstorm, and it is a spectacular knife. It is a single hand opener like all Spydercos. It's got this kind of, I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell, but kind of a greenish, I think they call it natural G10 scale on this side. It's kind of a pale, very pale green. It's opaque, you can see through it. I don't know if you can kind of see the blade coming through there. Excellent, very nice, attractive looking. This side is actually titanium, if what I'm reading is correct. Nice pocket clip, typical Spyderco. It's all one color. There isn't any, but the spider on the Spyderco clip is actually inset. It's I think pressed into it. As you can see, it's actually a frame lock style knife, which means the frame is actually part of the locking mechanism that holds the knife locked open. Now I'll open the knife. As you can see, very smooth, very, very nice opening on this. There's the blade. As you may or may not be able to see there, it's stamped CPM S30V, which made the whole thing much different. That's what was the first thing that I saw that tipped me off that this was probably not a freebie knife. That's my favorite steel. It's an excellent steel, excellent edge retention, fairly easy to sharpen compared to some of your other super steels. On the other side of the blade, you can see the designer's mark, and I'm totally blanking on the designer, but this is his last initial. I think it's a KW. I can't recall who it is. And then we have the make spot here. It says Golden, Colorado, USA, Earth, just in case you're on some other planet. But overall, this is a really, really nice knife. It opens very quickly, very smoothly. You can really tell that this is one of their top-of-the-line knives. I guess really the only thing I would say negative about this knife is the price. Street value is just under $150. street cost would be just at $150. And really, you know, you got to be realistic on this knife. This is just a really high quality EDC knife. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I would be very concerned about trying to employ this to be anything other than that. I wouldn't want to use it, you know, in an outdoors situation because the blade is rather small. Self-defense, you know, obviously any knife can be used for that, but you're going to give up a lot of reach against, you know, somebody even with a little stick. So, you know, it's limited in its use. It's really, I think, primarily when you get into, you know, 125 plus, you're really starting to look at a collector knife, or, you know, a knife that, as Nut and Fancy says, you know, falls really heavily on the second kind of cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I would absolutely carry this knife. I would buy this knife for, you know, around $100. At 150, this is out of my range. This, as I said earlier, this would have been my most expensive knife. Currently, the knife that I carry, my most expensive knife that I carry is my Benchmade 940, same steel, and that, you know, was just over $100 for me, you know, about a year ago. So you got to really decide whether this is, you know, worth that to you. One of the reasons I asked the question of whether it's worth it is because of another knife that I bought, and I'm sure we're all very familiar with this, and I'll be doing a full review on this before too long. But this is the Tenacious, much larger knife. You can see much bigger blade. I'd say more belly on the blade. This is more the kind of knife that I would carry, just because I think it gives you more use options. And obviously the steel on this is vastly inferior to the S30V. This is the 8CR13 MOV, but it does have G10 scales. It is skeletonized, and I want to check on this one and see if it's skeletonized on the other side before I leave you here. But you know, this is a $30 knife. I paid right at $30 for this knife. Same company. This was in the order that this ended up coming in, and I love this knife. This is my first Spyderco in quite some time, and I'm very pleased with it. So anyway, again, the Leafstorm, that's interesting. This is actually solid, which is part of the reason of its weight. It's very lightweight, significantly more lightweight than the Tenacious. It's not meant to, you know, shove into a person's skull or anything. It's not meant to have that kind of strength to it. It's an EDC, almost what you would call a gentleman's knife. It's just meant to, you know, do little light tasks and look very good doing it, and have a very sharp blade, which it does. It's very sharp all the way up and down. I will say that the grind marks are a lot more pronounced on the actual edge than I normally like on high quality steel. But, you know, a little strop will take care of that. I strop just about every knife that I get a good high polish on it. Anyway, I think that's pretty much everything I want to say about it. I just wanted to kind of do a quick review of this before I sent it back, and I hope Mr. Cassidy finds a good home for this guy. And if you happen to be the owner and this is something that really gets you going, I am absolutely certain you are going to like this knife, because, you know, with most of the Spydercos that I've handled and the few that I've owned, it's just a high quality item. So enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I don't know how much I'll be able to answer once it's gone, but I'd be glad to give it a shot. You know, this is an excellent knife. Maybe a little overpriced, but certainly a good knife for the classy EDC group. Thanks again.